What's up guys, you're watching India Today Tech. I'm Rahul Sethi, and this video I'm going to review the Asus Zenfone Max M1. It is a smaller version of the Zenfone Max Pro M1 and has a 5.45-inch display. It was launched recently alongside the Zenfone Lite and is priced at around 7,499 on Flipkart. The phone has very basic specs. It comes with a Snapdragon 430 chip with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of internal storage, and it has a 720p or HD resolution on the display. The bezels, as you're noticing, is not very thin, and let's talk about the design. In fact, overall, the Zenfone Max M1 has a plastic build overall, although it is a slightly more premium version of the light one, and you will see it has a fingerprint scanner at the back. The buttons are quite tactile and have a very good response. At the front on the display, you'll see there is a 2.5D curved glass, so it looks quite premium, although it's not from Corning. The phone has a micro USB port at the bottom with a single speaker grill, and at the top it has a headphone jack. At the back you find a single camera unit with single LED flash and fingerprint scanner. The build quality of the phone is pretty decent. It's not bad, but it's not very amazing either. I mean, it's sturdy, it's light, but it's not very premium, although it looks premium with that color and that kind of fit and finish on the display as well. But it's not very premium to hold and use, although it's pretty usable and it's a very basic one. Also on the top bezel, you'll find the front camera, the earpiece, ambient and proximity light sensors, and a single LED flash as well. The display on the phone is pretty bright. You'll see it has great brightness levels. In this amount of light, it is able to deliver good visibility, and it also has an automatic brightness sensor, so it adapts to the surrounding light and adjusts the brightness level. The display is quite sharp, and for a 720p panel, I said this in my unboxing video as well, that it gives you good color reproduction and overall visibility. If you take a look at the YouTube video, you'll find that the color reproduction on the phone is pretty good, and the viewing angles on the phone are also pretty nice. The touchscreen on the device is also pretty smooth and is pretty comparable to smartphones beyond its price range. Now if you talk about the software, Asus has put the Zen UI on top of the Android 8.0 Oreo, and the Zen UI that I'm talking about is very similar to what you see on the Zenfone Max Pro M1 or more expensive smartphones like the Asus Zenfone 5Z. You'll see the phone has a lot of third-party apps and features as well embedded inside compared to stock Android. Although a few years ago this was a problem with Zenphones, the UI has become a lot better. It's much lighter and much more swift now, but I did encounter usual stutters in daily life while using the smartphone. For example, if you go into the settings menu and you are into the security section, you'll see this area has a small lag, and there are a lot of examples like this where you'll see the phone has a slow response or would stutter altogether while opening or closing apps or while multitasking. Though at this price point it's hard to find a very smooth smartphone, and you'll have to go beyond for a much better experience like that on the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1 that has a better chipset. And I would say at this price, the Zenfone Max M1 doesn't have a bad performance, and it has its own set of problems. Also, you'll see that keyboard on the phone is pretty small. Of course, it has a small display, so things are pretty scaled down, and I'm probably used to using a big phone. Overall, you'll see the interface is very much usable now, but I didn't find any major problem when it comes to handling apps. It may become slow at times, but it's not a difficult interface to go with. The fingerprint scanner on the phone is pretty slow. It also supports face recognition, and that doesn't work in all lighting situations, but we found that the fingerprint scanner on the phone is very much slower compared to Redmi smartphones we have reviewed in this price segment. It takes a moment to register the fingerprint and unlock the display, and many a times the lag is pretty high. Now talking about the battery, the phone has pretty good battery backup. It lasted me a whole day, and I used the phone for listening to music for about 2.5 hours. and despite that the phone would last for a full day. Only I would need to charge it by the night for the next day. Charging takes about 2.5 hours. It doesn't support fast charging, although the battery is not very big, but still the phone needs about 2.5 hours to charge fully from dead. So that is not really a plus point there. But the good part is, yeah, the phone has a good battery backup. The signal reception and call quality on the device is also very good. The phone supports dual SIM cards and both of them support 4G VoLTE. Also, if we talk about gaming, it's pretty smooth, but that's true for basic games like Subway Surfers. If you try to play heavier games like the Asphalt 9 or PUBG for example, you'll find that the performance of the phone is not good. And that is customary because the phone does not have a very high-end chipset. It runs just a Snapdragon 450, which is quite a basic one, and you would not really expect it to run PUBG or many other heavy games anyways. But yes, it is able to run simple games like Subway Surfers, and the touchscreen is pretty smooth, the display is pretty nice. So the experience in that regard is pretty satisfactory. Now if we talk about the camera performance on the device, the rear camera on the phone comes with 13 megapixel primary sensor and is accompanied by a single LED flash. We tried the camera in many lighting situations. In good light you'll see it has good color reproduction, but the images don't really come out to be very bright. I mean, it doesn't meter light very properly, so you'll see the photos are not always amazing looking, although the details are quite nice again, but the dynamic range is not so good. So you'll see most of the times the photos don't really look very appealing unless you figure out some good light to take the photo. If you take a look at the indoor shots, you'll see the phone handles artificial lighting pretty well, but again there is a lack of dynamic range that doesn't really give that good appeal to the photos. Slight noise does creep in and the details are affected in low light situations. The front camera also lacks details, although you'll see the color production is pretty good and the dynamic range is also pretty average, not bad, not good either, but it's very doable. You'll see there is a lot of noise in the low light selfies. So overall, my experience with the Zenfone Max M1 was pretty nice, especially the battery part and the fact that the phone is pretty small and handy and lightweight. It's easy to use with one hand as well, so that is a great thing about the device. But apart from that, the interface is slightly slower, and if you're looking for something faster, you may want to go a little bit higher in the price segment. Also, the cameras are not that amazing, and you might want to take a look at the Realme C1 that has a bigger and brighter display, a slightly better camera and a better chipset as well. Do let us know what you think about the Zenfone Max M1 in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to get latest videos on technology, smartphones and other gadgets like this. Thank you for watching.